Hey guys, renegotiating contracts to keep yourself in the black is paramount for all builders that are using fixed price contracts that aren't exercising a rise and fall clause. And the rise and fall clause in a contract means you can charge more if prices go up that aren't in your control. So what I want to do is I want to talk about how to actually talk with a client, or how I would talk with a client. You can listen to what I would do and make your own decisions, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a builder. But I have been through similar things before, so let's see if we can get into it. The first thing we need to understand that a contract is a mutual agreement between you or two parties, essentially. And if it's good for party A and party B, then we have an agreement, we sign on the agreement, and we move forwards with that agreement. Now, contracts that you're probably using to build have a lot of legal jargon that you may not understand. But it is important to understand that it is an agreement between two people. So, if you're in the middle of a job and you can see that this job is going to go into the red, now is the time to do something. If we're talking small amounts of money, the hassle to renegotiate a contract is, I would say, not worth it. However, if you're copying 40% price rises that you hadn't allowed for in material, your job is going to run in the red. There's no way around it if you don't have a rise and fall clause. If you've already absorbed a certain amount of price rise up until now and thought you'll see it through, under the contract that you've already got, if you haven't exercised the right, that is your bill. But continuing to do that down the track will send you to the wall. It will send you broke. And there's a disadvantage of going broke for you. Obviously, reputation, the lack of ability to trade over the next 5 years. There's a whole heap of rules that you can look up online what happens when you go broke. But what you can use as a negotiating skill or a tool is to go to the client, and before you get to that stage and say, hey, we need to look at this because I'm not making money out of this job. And if I'm not making money out of this job, I can potentially go broke. And if I go broke, what happens to you as a client? And the answer is that the client is going to either have to take you on in court, which is going to take years, and they probably won't get it because of the rules involved of insolvency. But what they could do is they could organize another builder. Now, it seems to me if I was in a client and someone was building for me and they were going to go broke, the first thing I'd be doing would be ringing another builder. The builder, no one wants to go and finish someone else's job. So if I turned up to have a look at somebody else's job, I'm going to stick $50,000 to $100,000 on top of that job just to assume the risk that what the builder's done before I was there is actually done correct, because I don't want it to send me broke as a second builder. So I think it's really important that you actually make that clear to your client when you're renegotiating that this is what the scenario will be if I go broke, and this is why we need to renegotiate the contract. I still don't recommend, or for me, I would not renegotiate the contract on the fact that I might just scrape through and not go broke, because there's a good chance we'll be renegotiating the contract twice, and that's bad business. We make a mistake once, so be it. We learn from it. We just make the same mistake twice. That's stupidity, and we shouldn't do it. So, explain to the client why you need to renegotiate is one thing. And then you can also get into being the fact that I would probably reduce my margin to ensure that the client sees that I'm doing my best to help them out. The client is probably going to have to go to the bank and actually get more money, but the bank will also realize that actually stopping the job is going to be a cost to the bank as well. So there is negotiation powers between the client and the bank, and there's negotiation powers between you and the client. Utilizing and exercising is the key, but there are other ways to take cost out of a project. For instance, you could swap materials out for different types of materials that might be easier to install, cheaper to purchase, more available. There's a whole heap of reasons. But there's one other thing that I think that probably suppliers aren't really going to want to say, is that I'm pretty sure that most suppliers of products have actually made money out of this. And renegotiating your purchase rate from suppliers is really going to help you reduce the cost of construction. It might just be the fat that keeps food on the table, whatever it is. So look at where you've copped a price rise. Go down there and actually make an appointment. Say, hey, you know what? If I go broke, the account that I've got overdue, you're not going to get. Help me not go broke. Help the client be able to afford the project. We all work together, and after this is over, we have a loyalty agreement where we continue to use your products. No supplier wants you to go broke. No customer wants you to go broke. The government doesn't want you to go broke. No one wants anyone to go broke. It's just a situation that's arisen that most of us couldn't predict. And by the way, guys, I think that if I actually was building homes over the last 2 years on fixed price contracts I'd go broke too. And I've been building for 30 years. I've run every job in the black. I've never run a job in the red ever in my life. But I can see how it has happened. I can see why we got to where we are. Guys, utilizing technology is something that we as builders kind of went, we'll get to that. But I've known how to do it. I'm going to keep on grinding through. And if you continue to do that in the future, you will find that eventually you'll probably go broke as well, because there are systems out there now that enable us to build homes before we actually build them. We make one in Australia, and there are several systems around, but having a really good, efficient setup to get a project from concept through to completion is the key to enable you to actually see the costs, see the problems, solve the problems before you actually enter into a quote. It'll also give you the ability to change prices as soon as they're updated. So for instance, if you've got a 15% price rise on cladding, you can actually go and export your prices, update your 15% price rise, save that as a variation to the client, and charge the variation before you actually purchase the material. That's the key to getting around these situations. How they deal with the bank, you would want to help your client negotiate with the bank to get a better price. But guys, all of these things is what I would do. You have to make your own decisions. It could be value engineering, it could be changing the joist directions, it could be removing trusses and hand cutting roofs on site. But all of these are specific to your particular project. It could be adding a post in the middle of a double garage so that you can reduce the joist size. There's so many things we can do. You can do it in 3D software, and if you want to go over to PlusSpec and check out Plus Design Build and figure out how you can value engineer a project that's already in construction, it could help you negotiate through this as you go. What I do know is that what it will do is that the next project you do, you will be better versed. You will actually get more value out of quoting and charging for quotes to clients, which should enable you, once this pandemic fallout moves past, we're going to have more subcontractors, we're going to have more materials, building is going to be a whole heap easier. So trading through this bad section, getting past the next 8 to 12 months is the key to being a successful builder and a profitable builder in the coming years and even decades. All right, guys, if you got any questions, ask them below. You can book on one-on-one with me and find out more about my thoughts on how I would deal with some of the problems. But my main goal and us as a business is to see you guys get through to the next stage so that you're profitable and you actually have happy clients and at the end of the day, happy builders. All right, guys, look forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks for watching. If you've got anything that I missed, put them in the comments below. Tell me if there's something else we could recommend other builders do to help them get through this stage. Cheers.